Hello, myself Anuj Kumar from BCom Department, IMT Group of Colleges, Greater Noida, working as an assistant professor here. Today we are going to discuss the overview of goods and services tax law and its procedure. So we start with the presentation plan of our goods and services tax overview. Here we discuss today introduction GST as a game changer. Then benefits and silent feature of GST. Third is IGST mechanism. So we start with the introduction. What is GST? GST is a one nation, one tax. Is a indirect tax. Before GST implementation, there are several taxes like excise duty on manufacturing of goods and VAT on sales of goods, services tax on sales of goods. There are many taxes before implementation of GST. But after implementation, there is only one tax for every type of trading, manufacturing, services, that is goods and services tax. And it's called it the one nation, one tax. Then is limitation of current tax regime. Before GST implementation, there are several problems like cascading effect of tax. Like if any manufacturer of Maharashtra sold goods to the wholesaler of Maharashtra, then the manufacturer charges the excise duty from the wholesaler, and wholesaler if sell goods further to the retailer, he charges the sales tax from the retailer. But the wholesaler is not allowed to take the credit of excise duty which we paid by the wholesaler to the manufacturer at the first point of view. And if the wholesaler sell the goods to the retailer is pay the sales tax to the wholesaler because the wholesaler and retailer trading is a sales. Then the sales tax is attracted and VAT tax is back VAT applicable to them and credit of excise is not allowed. If on the other side we take Madhya Pradesh example, if retailer of Madhya Pradesh sold goods to consumer, then credit of CST not available. This should relate to interstate supply. An arrow can be shown from wholesaler in Maharashtra to retailer in Madhya Pradesh, and so the credit of CST paid in Maharashtra not available to retailer in MP. Like if any trading between the two states, then credit is also not available because the Maharashtra government is not contracted with the Madhya Pradesh government for any credit allowed. So there, this is the biggest limitation of current tax regime before implementation of GST. That is the cascading effect of GST. And second is the multiple registrations for excise duty, like for any manufacturing company is compulsory to take the registration under excise duty. If any wholesaler trading goods and sells goods, then he is compulsory to take the VAT registration. If any cinema hall operator is compulsory for registration under the entertainment tax. If any person is exported goods and then he is allowed to compulsory to take the GST registration in at any one stage. But for GST implementation, there are very different law and procedures like excise registration, VAT registration, entertainment registration, central excise registration, luxury tax registration. But after implementation GST, there is only one registration is needed, that is GST, goods and services tax registration. Thereafter, different point of taxation. Like if any whole manufacturing company sold goods to the wholesaler, then he charged the excise duty. If any person delivered the goods, then he charged the service because they provide the service to the wholesaler or retailer. If any departmental store sold goods to the consumer or the shopkeeper, then he charged the VAT. There are different types of tax, taxes, but after GST implementation, there are only one tax, that is goods and services tax, that is GST. Further, lack of uniformity. Before GST implementation, Maharashtra government and Gujarat government had different rules and regulations about the tax planning. Like Maharashtra government not take any entry tax if any importer, if any trader receive goods from other state. But Gujarat government has a entry tax or 4% if the any supplier received or any trader received the goods from other state. There are no uniformity in the VAT excise duty registration before implementation of GST. But after GST implementation, GST implement on all over the world in the all over the India, because the it is a one nation one tax. Then benefits of GST. Benefits of GST is reduction in cascading effect of taxes, overall reduction in prices, that is decrease in inflation. Common national market benefits to small taxpayers. It's resulted to ease of doing business. Self-regulation tax system, non-interactive electronic system, that is resulted to decrease in black market transactions. Simplified tax regime, reduction in multiplicity of taxes, that is resulted to more informed consumer. Consumer based tax, evolution of CST, poorer states to gain. Exporters to be zero rated, production of domestic industry IGST, that resulted to make in India. That are the several benefits of GST. Further, we move the silent feature of GST. First is the GST would be applicable on the supply of goods or services. Any type of supply or goods which covered under the GST, the GST would be applicable on that. It would be a single GST on any item, out of which 50% will go to the central government and 50% will go to the state government, union territory. Central tax CGST and SGST for state tax, union territory tax for UTGST. If any person sold goods to the consumer, if any manufacturer sold goods to a retailer or wholesaler, then he charged GST. If we take an example that a manufacturer sold goods to the wholesaler for a rupees 100, and the tax on 100 rupees is rupees 10 GST, then the 5 rupees 50%, that is 50% rupees 5, it goes to the central government, and 50% of that GST, that is rupees 5, go to the state government or unitary territory government. That the third is the GST would apply on all goods or services or both, other than alcoholic liquor for human consumption and 5 petroleum product. GST in India is applicable on all types of goods or services, excluding the alcoholic liquor, like uh, alcohol for human consumption, and the 5 petroleum product like petrol, diesel, natural gas, and then CNG, like this. Then the fourth is taxpayer with an aggregate turnover in a financial year up to 40 lakh rupees would be exempt from tax. If any supplier or seller have a lower turnover less than 40 lakh rupees, that is not compulsory to take the registration under the goods and services tax. This limit is before 2000 1st of July 2018 is rupees 20 lakh, but after notification implemented, the central government increased it to the 40 lakh. For service provider, the exemption limit would be 20 lakh. Taxpayer making interstate supply or paying tax on reverse charge wages shall not be eligible for threshold exemption. If any person, trader, person, wholesaler sold goods to interstate, like interstate is a supply, like if any person of UP sold goods to Delhi, it is an interstate supply. If any person making interstate supply, there is no exemption limit to that person for taking GST registration. We say that the GST registration is compulsory to all the person who making a interstate supply or paying the tax on the reverse charge basis. There is no exemption for GST registration for that person. That is, a small taxpayer with an aggregate turnover in a financial year up to 1 crore shall be eligible for consumption composition levy. There are two schemes in the goods and services tax law. That is, first is composition and second is regular. The simple scheme, composition scheme, is also called as a simple scheme. If any small taxpayer have a turnover up to 1 crore, that he will be eligible for a consumption composition scheme. That is the simple scheme. There is no need to calculation and accounting in the composition scheme, but in regular there is proper accounting is needing by the GST goods and services tax law. Before that, the time of implementation, this limit is up rupees up to 40 lakh only, but after implementation and by a notification, the central government increase it to the 1 crore. Then an integrated GST, IGST, would be levied and collected by the central on interstate supply of goods and services. If any person making an interstate supply, then he is liable to pay IGST, not the CGST and SGST. Then in that case, IGST is collected by the central government only, and then central government is divided into two parts, that is 50-50%. Then 50% is taken by the central government. Then the other 50% is paid to the government of that state who consume the supply of goods. Further, HSN code shall be used for classifying the goods under the GST. A separate, a distinct code for every goods or services tax is a 6-digit or 8-digit number is identified by the goods and services tax law. That is called the HSN code. It is the identifying code of every goods or services under the GST. Taxpayer whose turnover is above 1.5 crore but below than rupees 5 crore shall use 4-digit HSN, and the taxpayer whose turnover is 5 crore and above shall use 6-digit code. If any trader whose turnover is up to 1.5 crore, then he used the HSN code up to 4-digit. But if any person has the turnover up to above 5 crore and above, then he is compulsory to use the 6-digit HSN code. Then further, the four services service accounting code SAC use shall be used. Like if any person HSN code is for goods under the GST, but एक other code is SAC, service accounting code for services under the GST. Further is GST rate slabs. There are 5 slabs under the GST, that is 0% called as nil rated, 5%, 12%, 18%, and 28%. 0% for on essential item like rice and wheat, 5% on items of mass consumption like sugar, 12 to 18% standard rate for covering most manufacturing unit item and services or the medicines human consumption, 28% on consumer durable goods, pan masala, tobacco, erratic drinks like Coke, Pepsi, and other luxurious goods like car, mobile, and hand gadgets, electronic gadgets, etc. Rate will be notified by the government on recommendation of GST Council, and the government has a right to change the rate and the slabs at any time under the GST. Neither goods nor services, that products, that's goods or services that are not a goods or services under the goods and services tax. The following would not constitute supply of goods or services, Schedule 3rd of the Act, by an employee to employer. If any employee service rendered to their employer that is not a service covered under the GST. There is no GST implementation on that service. Services by any court or tribunal, functions performed by members of parliament, state legislature, panchayata, municipalities, other local authorities. Duties performed by chairperson, member, director in a body of CGSG, local authority who is not deemed to be an employee before commencement of this clause. Further is sale of land, sale of building, subject to clause B of paragraph 5 of schedule second. Actionable claim other than lottery, betting, and gambling are not also the goods and services covered under the GST. Why GST we use? Need for a mechanism to levy and apportion GST on interstate supply to destination state. What why IGST? IGST is implement for the interstate supply where the two states are included in any transaction. Then the IGST mechanism is used to compute the tax liability of for every state person. What are the interstate supply? Interstate supply we already discussed is supply of goods or services or both in the course of interstate trade or commerce, means any supply where the location of the supplier and the place of supply are in different state. That is the Goods and Services Tax Act, Section 3, Subsection 1 and Section 3, Subsection 2 of the IGST Act. That, for example, a person of Delhi purchased the goods from the Mr. B from Maharashtra, that supply is called the interstate supply. Like export import supplies to or and why special economic zones demand deemed. Next is why IGST and its advantages. Advantages of IGST model. First is maintenance of uninterrupted ITC chain on interstate transactions. The buyer in another state is in a position to avoid the credit of the IGST charged by the seller in one state. The incidence of tax would be same, be it interstate or intrastate. Hence, there would be no rate shopping or unfair advantages to any state. The tax regime is simple and there would not be any requirement of documentation as required in existing CST regime. The tax collected in the organization state would be transferred to the destination state. No refund claim in exporting state within India as ITC is used up while paying the tax. Further is cross utilization of input tax credit. If any person a person inward supply CGST rupees 10, SGST rupees 10, taxable person made outward supply IGST payable 25%, 25 rupees to the government, then he claimed the input tax credit as for payable the 25 rupees IGST, he paid through the input tax credit of CGST rupees 10 and the input tax credit of SGST rupees 10 and further rupees 5 paid to the central government for the IGST balance. Place of supply significance determination. Whether supply are intrastate or interstate, international. We first find out the place of supply, that the supply is intrastate within the state, interstate outside the state, or international outside the India. Which tax to pay? Which tax to pay on the that supply, that is CGST and SGST or IGST. If we made interstate supply, then we pay CGST and SGST. If we made a interstate supply, then we paid only IGST. Achieving the object of destination-based taxation, tax is paid at the point of origin. However, it has to reach consumption point. ITC of IGST allowed to buying taxpayer in the destination state. GST registration compulsory for every state, each state where business is situated. If any person have have a multiple business in any state, then it is allowed, not compulsory for take for every business separate registration, but he has a different state business, then he is compulsory to take a distinct GST registration for every state, because there are distinct state codes under the GST, like 064 Delhi, Haryana, 094 UP, that like that. And if any person have a registration, have multiple business in the any state, then he is not compulsory to take single registration. He can mandate the many registration for each business vertical within the same state. Liability to be registered. Who is liable to registered under the GST? Every person who is registered under existing indirect law being submerged in GST. Before implementation of GST, there are several taxes like excise registration, VAT registration, service registration. If any person is registered in that is also liable to take the registration in GST. Every person whose turnover in a year exceeds 40 lakh, he is compulsory to take the registration, and rupees 20 lakh for special category states and the service provider also. Voluntary registration permitted even if no liability. If any person is want to take the voluntary registration without any exceeding the limit of 40 lakh or to 20 lakh, then there is a voluntary registration is allowed to that person. Mandatory registration, irrespective of their sole remit. In for some time, there are the mandatory registration is government made. Person making interstate supply. If any person make interstate supply, then he is liable to make a GST registration. There is no taxation exemption limit from GST. Person required to pay tax under reverse charge. Casual and non-resident taxable person who is engaged in the any type of business activity. E-commerce operator, those required to collect TDS. If any service provider, that is the delivery of goods is making by the transporter, and he is required to collect TDS on tax reduction at source, then it is compulsory to take the GST registration. Person supplying goods through e-commerce operator, person making supply on behalf of a registered taxable person, then the every person supplying online information and database access or retrieval services from a place outside India to a person in India other than a registration person. Registration. GST to be granted state-wise. We already discussed that there is, if any person make business in different state, then he compulsory to take the registration for every state separately. If any Reliance making business in UP and Delhi and Maharashtra, then he is compulsory to take the registration under uh, from the Uttar Pradesh government, Delhi government, and also from the Maharashtra government. PAN mandatory for all GST numbers. If any person making and for requesting the GST number, then the person is compulsory to have a PAN card. PAN number, permanent account number, except for non-resident taxable person, here passport. If any non-resident person taking a GST registration, then there is no PAN mandatory for that. In that case, the passport is mandatory. Separate registration permitted for multiple business vertical in a state. Register deemed to be granted if objection by way of notice is not communicated within the time of 15 working days. Then is assessment and security. There are several options for assessment and scrutiny. First is self-assessment, that's a provisional assessment request of taxpayer. That is, taxpayer, if unable to determine tax rate or value, may request the provisional assessment. Department shall not suo motu assess provisionally. Third is assessment of non-filer even after service of notice. That is best judgment uh, or withdrawn if valid return furnished within 30 days of order. The next is assessment of unregistered person. Next, summary assessment. Last is scrutiny of return. There are several GST helplines like www.gst.gov.in. If any person had making any problem facing any problem in GST, then there are several GST websites or phone numbers are given by the government under the GST Act for a smoothness of apply of GST and transactions, and there is no problem in GST. Thank you very much. That is Kumar Agarwal from BCom department, IMT Group of Colleges, Greater Noida, working as an assistant professor. And thanks for watching. Thank you.